Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The gloves are off. The camp of Bilyonaryo gambling kingpin Atong Ang did not mince words after he was accused of masterminding the disappearances of dozens of cockfighting enthusiasts. They dismissed the claims of whistleblower Dondon Patidongan as flawed, self-serving, unsubstantiated, and mere fabrication. They even called Patidongan a master manipulator. Let's get on point with Atong Ang's legal counsel, Attorney Gabriel Villareal. Attorney, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Finally, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Pinky. Good evening to your viewers. Thank you for having us tonight.
You know, I was looking back at when exactly this started to come out. The issue again had resurfaced on the missing sabungeros. Must have been sometime in June. So it's been almost 2 months that it's been hogging the headlines. And apart from that July 3 complaint that Mr. Atong Ang filed before the Mandaluyong City Prosecutor's Office against Julie Dondon Patidongan and this alias Brown on extortion, etc., there was really no defense. No one spoke up. There was no spokesperson. There was no attorney really that we could find to speak on behalf of Mr. Atong Ang. Sir, why now?
Well, I got to speak with Mr. Ang. We spoke at length on the various, what I call innuendos, floating, being bandied about against him and his family. I spoke with his family and Mr. Ang. Maybe I recall that must have been 2 weeks ago, towards the end of June.
Maybe towards the end of July, maybe? Not
June.
June.
Yes, towards the end of July, I'm sorry. About 2 weeks ago, I said. We spoke to each other. I spoke to his family. They asked me if I'd be willing to render my services in his defense. And I said more than that. I said I believe in his innocence. And up to this time that I sit here, I will assert that Mr. Atong Ang is innocent of the charges being innuendoed and bandied about against him and his family. I find this to be a very cruel and unjust persecution of Mr. Ang and of his family. It's a very nice family.
Are you a family friend, attorney? Are you a family friend? Have you worked with him in the past? Only?
By 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago only. I met with Mr. Ang and his family because of the referral of a friend, who said, who actually requested me to get up from my retirement. I'm almost at retire. I've been always trying to retire since about a year and a half ago. I have not been successful, obviously, but after speaking to Mr. Ang, his family, I thought, yes, I'd take an exception. And as I said, tonight I assert, and as I always believed when I met him and his family, Mr. Ang, Pinky, is innocent of the charges that they're bandying about against him.
Attorney, you only met him 2 weeks ago. What made you
2 or
believe?
3 weeks ago.
2 to 3 weeks ago. What made you believe in his innocence?
Well, he in front of his family told me the whole story. I asked them to tell me the story from the beginning, from the time that he was engaged in this industry, from the time of his childhood, actually. When we were having dinner, I had the chance to inquire into his childhood and how he grew up. And based on that, what I thought heartfelt, deep, heartfelt conversation with him and his family. I thought, I was convinced then, and as I am convinced now, that he is innocent of these charges that are being bandied about because against him. I think this is a very cruel persecution of a man and a family who have suffered long and hard and have succeeded and have survived the long and arduous trial. And they are now being unjustly required to face another long and arduous.
Okay. So just for context, ang
times.
binabalikan niyo po ay yung dati. Of course, during the
Yes,
time of
which-
the former President Joseph
Yes,
Estrada.
I
All right.
do not want to.
Yeah.
I do not want to go into that detail anymore. But just I had a review of that when we spoke to each other and his family some weeks ago, because I needed that for background.
Okay. There's really not too much time to even really actually go there, Attorney. I hope you
Yes,
don't mind.
sure.
Let's talk about the statement. This came from you. You
Yes.
drafted
Yes,
this particular
I wrote that
statement.
myself. Thank
Okay,
you.
let's talk about it. Our clients, sabi niyo po, innocence, and sabi niyo po, we maintain our clients' innocence and caution against Julie Dondon Patidongan statements, which are flawed, self-serving, and unsubstantiated.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
is it flawed? Why is it self-serving? And why is it unsubstantiated? Let's start with flawed, sir.
Flawed. Well, it's a fantastic story. It's almost a fairy tale. It's a story, I think, paralleled out of a mafia confession. Patidongan, I think, is trying to portray himself as some kind of insider of a top echelon consigliere who is now spilling the beans on the godfather of godfathers of the gaming industry. It is flawed because I think he's merely following the playbook that has been followed by the New York Mafia and their singers long time ago.
To what end?
Well, I will get into an argument with Secretary Remulla about this, but my belief is, up to this time, that Julie Patidongan was operating a criminal syndicate of his own under the very shadow of the organization of Mr. Ang, without, however, Mr. Ang and his associates knowing about his operations.
Could you elaborate, please? Criminal syndicate on his own, operating on his own, under Ang's shadow. Ano hong ibig sabihin nito?
Ganito yan kasi, Pinky, at sa tingin ko, no? Si Patidongan started out as a security guard in one of the farms of Mr. Ang some 16 years ago. In the vernacular, nakapagpakita ng gilas itong si Dondon. Nakapagpakita ng gilas, and he was able to show his gilas, so to speak, to Mr. Ang, who napabilib niya. So, slowly but very steeply, he was able to climb to the highest echelons of the Ang organization. In fact,
And what is that? The
Well,
highest echelon of the Ang. What?
he in effect projected himself to be the boss, to be the alter ego of Mr. Ang, insofar as all his people are concerned. So, in fact, his employees, the employees of Mr. Ang, long-time employees of Mr. Ang, who even preceded Patidongan in the organization, would now call him Boss Dondon. They don't even address anybody in the organization as boss other than Dondon.
But if he is the alter ego, as you said,
No, I said he
Proceed.
made himself appeared to be the alter ego of Mr. Ang. He would elbow away or elbow out anybody who would try to get within proximity of Mr. Ang.
And was he successful?
Very successful.
Who was removed?
That's why I call him a master manipulator. That's why I call him a master manipulator.
Okay. Self-serving?
Self-serving
Unsubstantiated.
because he is trying to make a story which will help him exculpate himself, extract himself from liability for the small operations, syndicate operations that he was doing without the knowledge of his superiors.
Such as?
Such as, you know, Dondon being the perceived alter ego of Mr. Ang, controlled and monopolized the businesses that were available and were lucrative below what we call the ownership level of the whole operation. So you had to operate farms, you had to operate cockpits in Laguna, Manila, Batangas. All of this were under the control of Dondon. Mr. Ang, who used to attend to these things on his own, was lulled now into thinking that nandiyan naman si Dondon, kaya na niya yan. So Mr. Ang now will attend to the more mundane requirements of the business. Mm-hmm. Having cocktails with other investors,
okay.
Having marketing the concept that of gaming that he was trying to develop. All the rest of the operations were now in the exclusive hands and eyes and ears of Dondon.
And Mr. Atong Ang did not know this? He had no idea?
He had no idea because, boss, ako nang bahala dyan. That would be a very, very common line. When Mr. Ang visits the farms, for example, in Lipa, one of his favorites, he would be approached by people because they have problems. Dondon would say, boss, ako nang bahala dyan.
Wala ho bang, kung totoo po yung sinasabi niyo, attorney, wala ho bang ibang trusted person si Mr. Atong Ang para bulungan siya?
There used to be. There used to be. Until they were elbowed out by Dondon. Until they were elbowed out by Dondon. He himself admits, I've heard him in his interviews with you, that he is the closest to Mr. Ang. He has said that several times in your interview with him.
All right. Let's try to go to the meat of the issue. What exactly are you saying is the role of Julie Dondon Patidongan in this issue on the missing sabungeros, attorney?
Okay. You have to think of Dondon as one of the for lack of a better term, B-level cockfighting suppliers. What do I mean by B-level cockfighting suppliers? If you have a cockfight, okay, it's like a boxing match. You invite prize fighters to have a fight. You have the main card and you have the secondary cards. So you invite good fighters to attract an audience. Okay? So Mr. Ang organized the top-grade, top-level cockfighting suppliers.
Kumbaga siya yung main...
Siya yung promoter. He promotes the fights. He promotes the fights so that you can see something on Isabong. so that you can hold a derby in a cockpit? Because if you don't promote the fights, if you don't invite good cocks and good cockfighters or good cock breeders, you won't have an audience.
Okay.
It will be another Sunday sabungan, another Sunday sultada.
So ano po nangyari? Paano po yung
So,
sabi mo, B po itong si
Yeah.
Julie Dondon?
So you have these A levels, yung sinatawag nilang A levels. So, these are the experienced, highly high profile cock breeders. Then you have the B levels, those who will raise cocks. They're not as sophisticated as the A levels, but they have fighting cocks that they will breed, they will farm, and feed them also into the fight card, so that you have more than just a few sultadas, they call it, a few cockfights in a day. So you have a whole day of sabong to fill up.
All right. Okay.
Right. So now, Dondon, being the alter ego of Mr. Ang, was able now to develop his own B-level cocks and chickens. It is in that level that he would make the money. Why? Because he'd compete. His cocks would compete with whoever.
Okay.
And if he doesn't get his way at that level, he will intimidate the other entries and say, we will not admit you here next time if you don't come along with my operation. So if I want this set of people to lose, you have to make them lose.
Attorney, what are you trying, ano hong ibig sabihin nito? Kung siya po ang nangunguna sa sinasabi niyong B-level, ano pong sinasabi niyo? May dayaan?
I'm not saying that he's nangunguna sa B-level.
You said he created this B-level.
No,
Hindi ho ba?
He joined that B-level. It's the industry develops that. Like in a boxing industry, you have good prize fighters and you have not so good prize.
Yung undercard, parang ganun po.
Undercard,
Okay.
di ba? Si Dondon, pang undercard pa lang muna.
Mhm.
So, but he makes a lot of money on the undercard because everybody's eyes is on the main event.
Yeah, pero you were saying
So
na
you can
kapag hindi kayo sumunod, meron ho kayong sinasabing ganun eh.
Pag hindi ka sumunod sa akin, sa sinasabi ko, hindi na kita pasasalihin dito.
Ano po yung pag hindi ka sumunod? Ano ho yung mga sinasabi na kailangan sundin para...
There are many ways of making money on a cockfight.
Okay.
One is winning or losing. The other way is developing a good following for a particular line of cocks.
Okay.
There are many ways of manipulating and doing business in a cockfight in many levels.
And what was the advantage of him being part of this B level that you call, or yung tinatawag po nating undercard?
Well, then he has a subworld of competitors whom he deals with. Some of them may rub him the wrong way. And if they rub him the wrong way and he warns them to do or not to do certain things, and they don't heed his warning, he can get his way.
Attorney, ito pong subworld, ito pong B level, dito ho ba pumapasok yung mga missing sabungeros?
I think so.
You think? You don't
think
know
so.
that for a fact. You think?
I don't know that for a fact, Pinky, because nobody can really make that A and B distinction, but the industry itself.
I see. Okay. All right. We just need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with attorney Gabriel Villareal. When we return, stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, attorney Gabriel Villareal, the legal counsel of Bilyonaryo gambling kingpin Atong Ang. So, sir, let's go to the meat of the issue. What is the supposed involvement of Julie Dondon Patidongan in the case of the missing sabungeros? Because he is saying that the mastermind is your client. Siya po ang mastermind nitong lahat. Siya po si Julie Junjun at siya po, si Julie Patidongan, Dondon Patidongan rather, is the whistleblower. Siya po ang bumaliktad kay Mr. Atong Ang para po ituro na si Atong ang mastermind at may kagagawan po nito.
If you recall, Pinky, sometime late last year, Dondon Patidongan was caught in a CCTV footage escorting a man who was turned out to be the missing sabongero in handcuffs. I think this was in the arena in Manila.
He says it wasn't him.
Well,
yung pong
anyway.
supposed to be nakaposas.
Yes.
Dalawa po yan. Dalawa yung pag-usapan po natin dito. Yung supposed CCTV wherein nakitang nagwi-withdraw yung kapatid niyang si Eliakim.
Yes.
And then the other one, yung pong supposed to be sa CCTV na huli na may posas. He has an explanation to that. I asked him and I think we're ready to air that. If we can air that back to back, let's do that.
Si Jose Patidongan, siya yung close-in security ni Mr. Atong Ang. Yung sinabi niyo, ma'am, na may hawak-hawak na si Bautista na may pusas, ang tao na humawak niyan, ma'am, na binanggit ko na yan noon, na si Mr. Roger Burican at si Rodilo Anig-ig. Yan yun, ma'am, ang ginamit niyang witness against sa akin, ma'am.
Okay.
Na makikita naman natin, ma'am, na matatangkad na tao yun. Yung mga kapatid ko, 5'6" lang yan, ma'am. Yung tao na nag-withdraw, kapatid ko yun, ma'am.
Okay.
Ngayon,
All right. Let's cut it there para hindi po nakakalito. So it's not him. It's not Julie Dondon Patidongan na supposed to be nahuli, nakita sa CCTV in my handcuff. He mentioned it. It was a Roger. I'm sorry, the other names were a little not very clear. And then he was saying that itong ginagamit ni Mr. Atong Ang para labanan yung kanyang testimonya.
Well, the truth is, the fact is, Dondon Patidongan is one of the accused in a Manila case precisely involving the disappearance of certain people from the Manila arena in late 2024, which is being
They were out
tried,
in bail. Opo.
which
They're
is
being
being
tried at
tried
the moment. Opo.
in the RTC of Manila.
Tama po. Oo.
When it is my belief and it is my position that when this thing popped out and he realized that his world was getting small, he now had to find a way of escaping liability. And what easiest way or what best way to escape liability than to point to your superior? But what I'm saying is that precisely is a fabrication that has to be exposed. And we intend to expose that fabrication, that falsity in the near future, given us an opportunity and given us the proper, fair forum.
What would you say would be the biggest defense of Atong Ang?
The biggest defense of
Or
Atong-
strongest, rather.
Well, It may sound philosophical, Pinky, but I believe in the truth. And I believe that the truth can set one free. And I believe in that truth that Atong Ang is innocent.
Who is responsible? Who is responsible for the missing sabungeros, attorney?
I would not want to make accusations out of place, but it would seem to me that the one responsible for the missing sabongeros is Julie Patidongan and his cohorts.
The cohorts are? Would
I
it
can
include?
see Eliakim Patidongan, whose photo was captured in an ATM machine, withdrawing money from the ATM card of a missing sabongero. I can see Jose Patidongan, who again is another brother, who I know by now is a convicted of robbery and is now serving his sentence in Muntinlupa. I know of several others being identified by several witnesses who went to the CIDG or were investigated by the CIDG under General Macapas, when General Macapas and his operatives were precisely investigating the involvement of the Patidongan brothers for their responsibility for the missing sabongeros.
What do you say to people who would probably or think that imposibleng hindi alam ng boss ang ginagawa nung tao niya?
Madali hong sabihin na imposibleng hindi alam ng boss. Kanya lang ho pagka inisip ninyo, pag marami kayo, tignan po natin ang maraming mga boss diyan. Di ba? Yung mga boss ho, karamihan hindi na alam kung ano nangyayari sa babae. I don't want to mention names, but we have huge business tycoons all over the place who have interests in various industries.
Right.
Anybody who presents himself to be a believable factotum to that tycoon will readily be able to get his confidence and be able to run on autonomy the entire industry that he is heading.
Let's just talk about the recent events. As mentioned a while ago, that there's supposed to be already an affidavit from Julie Dondon Patidongan. There is supposed to be also, as we believe, an affidavit from the two brothers na will possibly support, because it's supposed to be, one of them is called the missing link. When I was speaking to Dondon before, sabi may kulang na lang, and apparently it's the brother na nandito na ngayon. It's probably Eliakim, right? So, ando na po.
Julie, can I ask you, when did Dondon Patidongan tell you that may isang kulang na lang na element? I heard that interview of yours. Do you recall the date?
No, I don't.
Yes. Because I think at that point in time, Dondon Patidongan knew that the CIDG was hot on the tracks of his two brothers. So what was he doing? He was hot on the track of these two brothers, whom he knew, if caught, we're going to have to say that they are working with Dondon Patidongan.
You mean the two brothers, to be clear, attorney. You're saying if caught, would point to their brother as the mastermind?
No, would point to their brother as their cohort.
So
And
ilalaglag nila yung kapatid nila
No,
para pong
hindi
ganon?
nila ilalaglag yun, Pinky. Kasi magsasabi lang sila ng totoo. Because they were tracked down by the CIDG on testimony of witnesses investigated by CIDG who said that these two brothers were working with Dondon Patidongan.
Okay. All right. So there was also something I'd like to play, but I don't think we have time. Pero ang sinabi po ni, I recall, sinabi po ni Dondon Patidongan here is that ito pong dalawa, pinaalis ni Atong Ang, at ito pong si Eliakim, nagkaroon pa nga ng alias na, if I'm not mistaken, Robert Bailon. It was Atong Ang who was able to get this, documents that bore not his real name, not his real name.
It's now easy to say that. It's now easy for Dondon to say that. Simply because they held those two brothers from July 22 incommunicado until General Jean Fajardo revealed that they were in custody. That was 10 days after.
Attorney, let's talk about that because we talked about it in agenda and we don't have a lot of time. So ito pong dalawa kasi nahuli pumunta ata ng July 19 sa Cambodia, na ibalik ng madaling araw ng July 22. And then you were saying from July 22 to, about 10 days later, there was nothing, no news about...
They were held incommunicado. Who was holding them? And the day after that they were brought back to Manila, guess what? General Macapas was relieved. He was interviewed by you. He was relieved. Why was he relieved? Let's say that he was, for whatever reason, for whatever friendly reason, he asked that he himself be relieved. But why? Why relieve General Macapas, who was responsible for the arrest of these two? Why relieve him on the following day?
Dondon was saying, I recall, attorney, that siya pa nga ang nagbigay ng lokasyon ng dalawang kapatid niya.
It's now
kahit
easy to
yung
say
hotel.
that, Pinky, because you've already relieved General Macapas.
Okay.
Had they not relieved General Macapas, the story may have been different.
Okay, let's do a bit of a summary, attorney, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, yun po sabi ko na si Dondon Patidongan in his testimony the past 2 months. Very recently, the NAPOLCOM served the preventive suspension on 12 policemen, referring, with regards rather to the complaint filed by Dondon Patidongan, di ho ba? And let me quote, ang sabi po ng hepe, the heads, there's strong evidence of guilt. And while they did not mention what was the evidence or pieces of evidence, they said that the complaint was of Patidongan was meritorious. So that was based on what Dondon Patidongan is saying. So his statement, ito pong NAPOLCOM. And then now, the filing of complaint of murder and illegal detention by some of the families of the missing sabongeros supposed to be on your client and others.
Which I have not seen. Not a page of that I have seen. All that I know now is the say-so. Is the say-so of Dondon Patidongan. What I'm saying is, as I've said in my statement, let us please be cautious about Dondon Patidongan.
Right.
Because his is a self-serving, motivated declaration.
Bullet question, sir. Does Atong Ang have witnesses to back him up?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. What is your appeal to the families of the missing sabongeros?
I've already expressed my sympathy for them. In fact, my admiration, Pinky, at their persistence on their own crusade for justice and fairness for them. I sympathize with them, Pinky.
Okay.
But where I sit now and where I stand, I'm appealing to them. Wala pong kinalaman si Mr. Atong Ang sa pagkawala ng mga kamag-anak mo.
Last question, sir. If it goes to trial, do you think you're going to get a fair trial?
I hope so.
All right. We've run out of time. actually overtime. Maraming salamat po sa
sorry.
inyong oras. No, not
Sorry,
your
Pinky.
fault, sir. I mean, it's the first time I spoke to you. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Maraming salamat kay Attorney Villareal. That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.